Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, I am the Introverted Reader, and today's video is going to be a book review of Boy Like Me by Simon James Green. Now you guys know I have read and reviewed all of all of his YA books anyway, on his channel, so naturally once I finished this I was like I have to review it. Now this is it's set in 1994. I got something on my... Oh, wait, hold on. We have yet to hydrate. I nearly forgot. If you have not hydrated today, please do so. Okay, now we've sufficiently hydrated. Let's talk about this book. So this is set in 1994 in a little small town in Lincolnshire. Lincolnshire? Right, yeah. I'm sorry to everybody in England if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But yeah, it's set in this wee town in Lincolnshire, and we follow our main character, Jamie. And, he leads a pretty normal life. He's not overly popular at school. He's somewhere sort of in the middle. And yes, I hurt myself. That's what that is. Ignore my injury. But anyway, so he leads a somewhat normal life, and the book starts off with him. He's just going to school. It's a normal day. And him and his friends are organizing this sort of like this ball, for the older kids. And he's in the library one day and he's working on some stuff, and the librarian comes over, and the librarian's really nice to him. The librarian's kind of like, she's like a friend of the kids, you know what I mean? She's cool. So she gives him this book, and it's entitled The Wildflowers of Britain, and he's looking at it and going, okay, book about wildflowers, okay. And he brings it home and he reads it, and he discovers that it is not about flowers. It's a story about two boys who form a friendship and then fall in love. And through reading this book, he discovers about himself that he is gay. And obviously 1994 in England, pretty rough time to be queer. Well, it's a pretty rough time to be queer now, but we'll get into that in a minute. Pretty rough time for gay men, especially, with the rise of like AIDS and the fact that gay men were dying of it everywhere. Nobody knew what, sort of coming off of that. And Section 28 was in full effect back then. Damn you, Margaret Thatcher. Anyway, so yeah, that's in full effect. And obviously he can't tell anyone that he's gay because he's like, I'll get beaten up and murdered. Or, I could get thrown in jail, can't talk about being gay. And obviously we can't have books in your library that are about being gay. And anyway, so one day he goes back to look at the book again, and he discovers a message written in the margins, and the message says, I feel this way as well, anybody else? And he's like, does someone else at the school, is someone else at the school just like me? And he sort of starts this correspondence with this mystery person. And we do discover who this mystery person is. I had thought that it was going to be this big mystery all the way through, but it was a mystery for a while. But I'm really glad that Simon didn't drag it out. I'm really glad that we did find out. Because the principal finds the book, and it's a whole big palaver. The principal in this book, like all the other teachers, but the principal especially, homophobic piece of shit. Honestly, disgusting, hate her. I'll say as well, Simon has put a little author's note at the beginning of this, and it says, some parts of this are completely true, some parts have been changed to protect people's privacy, and some parts have been entirely made up to help the story along. Essentially, though, this is real, and it's about trying to be real at a time when that reality felt terrifying. And he puts a little trigger warning as well to remind you that there are scenes of homophobic abuse and violence in this book, and they were quite upsetting to read. But I'm glad that Simon didn't shy away from that, because stuff like that was so rampant, especially around this time with that horrendous piece of legislation. So obviously, yes, trigger warnings for that. And if you feel like you would not be able to get through it, then just be wary. But I would highly, highly recommend anybody, queer or not, to read this, because books like this are so important. like books like this are so important, and like because queer voices deserve to be heard. And this era in our history, whenever we were basically the government, our own very government was trying to basically erase us from, you know, from talking, you know, about being queer and our history and everything that happened at Stonewall and everything. And, you know, it really got to me while reading this. Like, this does have a more serious tone to it than Simon's other books, because yes, obviously it still has Simon's witty style of writing, and there were moments in here that made me smile and, you know, made me like chuckle a little bit. But at the core of it all, this is a very touching, moving, and very real and serious story, because kids like Jamie existed. Kids like Jamie still exist now. And with all of the hatred that's happening towards queer people as of now, you know, like attacking drag queens and taking healthcare away from our trans family, like it's just, it really hit home with me, because everything that was highlighted in here, I'm just like, this is basically happening now. Do you know what I mean? It might not be happening on my exact doorstep, but it's happening. Like, queer people are being attacked as we speak. And that is why books like this are so important, because they talk about our history, and they talk about the fact that, like, you're not alone here. You know, because Jamie throughout this book thought he was alone, and that he would have to have kept this secret about himself hidden until, like, I'm either gonna have to, like, it'll either be like, he wouldn't even have to wait until he left school. Like, he would probably have to, like, basically leave the country, you know? And, like, and I adored him all the way through this. Like, this was a young man who basically had everything going against him at one stage. And, you know, he was just like, I could just crumble to the floor right now and give in, but he doesn't. And I admire that so much about him. And it genuinely brought me to tears. Like, I remember finishing it and just having to, like, sit and contemplate. Like, yes, it is a love story between him and this other boy. And it's beautiful the way it's written. And the other boy's dad, again, homophobic piece of shit. He's actually a conservative MP, which, like, just disgusting. And, like, you know, Jamie's family, well, he has his mom, and his mom has a boyfriend. It's not his dad, because his dad's not around. But, like, I really, like, him, and, like, his mom didn't even, like, need him to say it. She just sort of nodded and was like, I know, and it's okay. And it's like, oh, we need more mothers like that, honestly. Like, overall, this was so touching, and it was so moving. And like I've said over and over and over again, books like this are so important. Books like this are so important. And I really hope that if you are a teacher, or if you work with young people, or like especially in a school, like, please like, have books like this in your library. I beg of you. Like, and if anybody tries to fight to ban books like this from your library, I beg of you to be one of those voices that shouts out and says, no, we need books like this, because it's not the books that are the problem. So on that note, I love this book. I need all of you to read it. And yeah, Jamie, what's his last name? Jamie Hampton is now in and amongst all my other sweet gay sons that Simon has written about. And honestly, I don't know if Simon is going to see this, but thank you so much for writing this. I really believe that you wrote this to make a point. Like, obviously you set this in the early 90s. I was 2. But it's so relevant to what's happening now. And I thank you so much for highlighting all of the issues that are happening now, but set in a book 30 plus years prior. So go you, Simon. Anyway, 5 stars if you haven't guessed already. So I'm going to stop talking now and getting sappy before I start crying again. But anyway, I love this, and I highly recommend all of you read this as well. So that's it from me. All of my socials are down below as always. My Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok. Subscribe if you are new, and ring the bell. And my next video is gonna come on Tuesday. I don't know what the video is gonna be, but it's gonna be something. So I'll see you in that next video. Bye.